Alright, audio is up.
Woo!
And we are live. Gonna go Strahd for a second. Now gonna go back to live.
But why?
Because I can.
Okay. Hey everybody. So, we ended up having some scheduling issues and could not do a Tears of Kairos before we end up doing Curse of Strahd next week, and then we hate tacos, and so we're late. But tonight I am running my first monster of the week on this side of the table. It's gonna be super fun, super hokey, super horror-y, I hope, and we're gonna go from there. So who's playing at the table?
I am Fred. I am playing the Spooky.
I am a Ninjaspence. I will be playing the Monstrous.
I'm Hewitt. I'm playing the Flake.
Alright.
Completely opposite of your personality, at least.
Yep.
So before we jump into some really quick backstory creation stuff, we're gonna talk about the fundraiser thingy that's down there. It's down somewhere over there. Am I pointing the right way? I don't even know anymore.
Yeah.
It's below us.
Donate to St. Jude.
Yeah, and
Help kick childhood cancer's ass.
yes, and to encourage further donations to that cause. During the Curse of Strahd games, which will be airing on Thursdays all through October, we'll have 4 Thursdays with a table full of people ready to try to kick Strahd's ass. To encourage donations for that, I will have like a tiered list of, if you donate X much while we're actually streaming, you can actually purchase things that will happen in the game on the stream. So it'll be super cool. So tune back in for that starting a week from today. And with that, we're going to make this really quick and really easy. Y'all all know each other.
Cool.
Okay.
Y'all all
not make this work.
Y'all all have worked some hunts together. So, introduce yourselves. If you want to claim, like, actual, like, connections, that's fine. Otherwise, y'all are known as a, like, paranormal-type investigative group in Monroe, Louisiana. And y'all get to name the group. Okay? Alright. So, introduce your characters, please.
Oh, okay, I'll go first. My name is Gary Matthews. I work seasonally I work at the sword store at the mall every time it starts popping up. I am a connoisseur of weapons. I also seem to know things because, of course, I know things because I spend my time researching.
Oh my god, he's a douche.
All right.
Where you normies might go out to Applebee's or the Olive Garden, your highfalutin expensive restaurants, I spend my days and my money on the important things in life, making sure we keep people safe through research and top ramen.
Alright, so...
I married this man and I love him. I married this man and I love him in real life.
So, Bubba from Sherilyn Kenyon's Dark Hunters universe. Got it.
Speaking of which, once everybody's done, I gotta roll.
Say what?
At the beginning of this, after everybody introduces themselves,
Alright.
I gotta roll. So I will say this, I'm pretty sure y'all know Gary, because everybody notices the seasonal knife shop that opens up in the mall.
Fun fact, they refuse to come back to the Conland Mall. The rent's too high. They have a permanent store in Shreveport, though.
Nice.
Alright, in that, on the surface, I am known as Susan Lagrange. I am usually a therapist by day, basically helping out people with just their needs and wishes and such. And on Sundays, that I am a youth minister at North Monroe. And basically, but underneath all of that, I am a kitsune named Sumi. Sumami. Yeah, but that's what it says.
Susumi or...
T-S-U-S-A-M-I.
Susami.
Susami, thank you.
Sasami. Yeah.
Susami.
Susami.
How's Tenchi?
Tsunami, but not tsunami.
Yeah.
Susami.
Tsunami. Okay.
Chaos Muffin, turn down your iPad, please.
Alright. What you got, friend?
I am playing Agnieszka. But you can call me Aggie. This is much easier on the American tongue, yes?
Mm-hmm.
I am a foreign student down over here in America, and I am spooky. I have some spooky things I can do.
Alright. So you're a student.
Yes. Kind of just average height, black hair.
Okay.
Hoodie.
So, Gary Matthews, the Swords Guy Mansplainer, Susie, or Susan, the therapist youth minister Kitsune, and Aggy the student spooky. Okay,
Yeah.
Cool. All right, and before we get start of investigation stuff, what do y'all want your group's name to be?
Arcaniana, like Acadiana but arcane.
Or
That's
That
probably
sounds so
that
pretentious.
sounds terrible.
that sounds terrible. I mean that.
Y'all want to take your cue from Ghost Hunters on Sci-Fi, which is the Atlantic Paranormal Society
No.
on
What about Monroe Revengers?
Mister?
No.
No, that just sounds like an anime.
It is.
It is.
I mean that
What about MPS, Monroe Paranormal Society?
that works.
It's just simple.
Muppets. We're Muppets.
You're a Muppet.
You're the Muppets.
Monroe Paranormal. What would the T be?
Technical.
Technical?
He had to add in the technical because he likes to do the computer things.
It's not my fault you don't understand an iPad.
Look, I know how to work an iPad, and we're nowhere near where Jim Henson
All
is
right.
from, so I don't know why you like the Muppet things.
All right, Muppets.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Oh God.
I'm
No, you're
good.
not.
I'm good with this. So, does anybody besides Gary have a start of investigation
I
thing?
don't think so because I did not take premonition, so no.
All right.
Alright, so I have connect the dots. At the beginning of each mystery, if you look at wider patterns that occur, this event might be a part of. Roll plus sharp. On a 10 plus, hold 3. On a 7 to 9, hold 1. Spend your hold during the mystery and ask the keeper one of the following questions. So
Okay.
so
You basically get freebie questions throughout the mystery.
I rolled a 4 and a 5, that's 9
Yep.
plus 2, that's 11.
Nice. All right.
So I got the questions on my page.
Okay. Cool. Are you asking any of them now, or are you waiting
I
to
can ask them
sprinkle
throughout the
those in? Okay.
I have not read the questions I can ask, so I'm definitely not asking them yet.
Okay. All right. So I will. We're going to jump right into this. There's not a lot of scene setting that needs to be done. It is October 1st, 2022 in Monroe, Louisiana. For those of y'all that don't know, that's this coming Saturday. What this means is the fair's in town. The Arklamis Fair's in town, and everybody and their mother is going to the fair this weekend. There's also the children's convention over at the West Monroe Civic Center.
Everything happens.
Everything happens on Saturday.
And the Celtic Fest happens
So-
Saturday.
Y'all's entire plan for this weekend was just to stay at home and not get in any trouble. I would like each of y'all to roll me a d6 just to see who's going to get this phone call.
4.
Alright, we'll give it to Spence. He rolled 1. So, I'm not making y'all roll again. We're trying to move this along. So, Susie, you're at the Muppets office, which is, I don't know, it's maybe in your basement. I don't know.
Shit, you have a basement.
Oh God, it is spooky here.
So you're at the you're at the Muppets office. This is kind of your place where you're not so distracted when y'all aren't on a case, and you're working on your sermon for the next day. When your phone rings, not your normal phone, the Muppets phone.
Right. She.
Went on the night.
She just basically like answers the phone and just, hello?
Hello, is this the Monroe Paranormal Technical Society?
Yes, that this is Susie speaking. Who is this?
My name is Deputy Carl Rossum. I'm with the Darbone National Wildlife Refuge Ranger Service,
Okay.
and I was wondering if you and your team might be free. I've got a bit of a situation up here that might be in your line of work.
Where is this situation at?
You know the NWR Ranger Station off of White's Ferry. You just head out of town and head north
Yeah.
where 7 turns into White's Ferry, and then you
Mhm.
come. It ain't but about 10 miles up once you get off the dump there with over the bayous.
Alright.
If y'all could meet me up at the Ranger Station at 7 tonight, that'd be. I know y'all probably want to get out of town with all the traffic won't be happening. So I mean, if you need to show up early, you can. But I'll have everything set up for you at 7.
All right, and thank you. And then she just hangs up, and then that she is, while that she's at the office, that she's up in her fox form, which is fox humanoid form, which is basically a blue-black fur with just a cream-colored snout. That the kimono is basically the same kind of color.
Sparkle dog.
And stuff.
Furry.
Sparkle
No.
dog.
And then that whenever that that she goes back upstairs, and then that of course that we had to make a front of the upstairs place since we're renting it. That y'all basically decide what the front is.
It is right next to A&H Games.
Of course it is.
I was gonna say downtown Monroe, but that makes
But yeah, then that you just see just that this mixed heritage, woman comes out with just kind of like, just that the stereotypical, like short bob hair up in like an argyle sweater with just some nice fitting apple bottom jeans on. And then that she just
Kitsune got the fur, got the fur.
And then that she just basically calls. That she is gonna call Gary.
You're odd, Gary.
That's not a surprise.
And just gonna be like, Gary.
Hi, just give me just 1 second. 1 second. Look, if you're gonna play Commander, you have to play the deck right. This is not that is not actually a Commander card.
I resemble this comment.
That is not good. He's not. I'm sorry. I'm over at the game shop right now, and they don't know.
Just gonna look out, look through the window and be like,
just. They don't know how MTG works.
just hurry up and
He
then
tried to play a Charizard.
Just hurry up and then just hurry up and then and destroy this kid.
Fine, Exodia.
Anyway.
Yes, I will shit on every card game.
So that we have a job. We have
Well,
a job.
yeah.
No.
Like
Another
oh wait,
other
no,
job.
it's not. They're not coming back.
That the last time that we had this, that we had to bail you out of the Taco Bell, and then that that I had to go in and guest sermon out in Baton Rouge for a month.
Look, when you say guacamole, it has to actually be guac. It can't be mayonnaise with green food coloring.
We all know Taco Bell is bad,
That's the
but
fish of the
but anyway, then that you have Aggy's contact, don't you?
She's not answering me right now.
Fine, I will be the responsible one.
I heard a little bit of Dale there, and I'm not sure I'm okay with that.
But
Is this
that
what
we
Dale
have a job to
becomes?
No.
do off of White Ferries Road. That we gotta go speak to this officer, Carl Rawls.
Okay.
No,
Oh!
Is he going for cookies?
no.
Is he?
I put the trash by my butt, and he was trying to get it. I heard the crinkle.
Okay, so like
Weird.
if we're talking to like the cops and stuff, I didn't do it.
You did not do it yet. That's okay.
I didn't do it.
Right. Just gonna basically just already have Aggy dialing.
Gonna go over, put his trilby on, get his coat. Yes, it's a trench coat. Yes, it came from Goodwill.
Of course it
Hey,
did.
don't you knock that. That's where my trench coat came from. Shut up.
First West Thrift Store.
No, it came from Salvation Army.
Right.
Still
Jesus,
have it.
take my
Aggie.
shit.
Aggie, your phone rings. Are you
Hello?
studying? It's Saturday. What's
Yes, that it is Susan. That we have a unique job to come. That I am here with Gary at the shop. Do you need us to pick you up?
No, I was just there a little bit ago. I went over to the Waterburger to get a drink because they haven't finished building this damn Bojangles yet. They've been building this thing, so it's from the same damn parking
Yes,
lot.
I mean.
Is she talking about Bojangles? It's just bougie Popeyes.
I just put this on speaker and just gonna
Look,
be like.
I'm almost at Catfish Charlie's. I'll be there in just a couple minutes.
Catfish Charlie's do not like.
Still never been. He won't go.
Soggy ass fish
Alright.
strips.
You don't
Soggy
eat
ass fish strips.
I guess that I am driving again.
All right. Do you want to describe Susie's car?
Yes, I will. That she is driving a.
I learn everything about what you drive in this game.
She drives a. Let's just actually go. She drives actually. She drives a Toyota
I resemble
pickup
that comment.
truck.
Oh, I don't resemble that comment.
The Toyota. What?
So it'd be the
Toyota Tundra.
it's the Tundra.
Extended cab, right?
I was
Extended
thinking, I
cab,
was thinking Honda.
and then that it just has like I would say that it basically has like a wrap on it a little bit.
Yeah, what color be it?
It
Is it
says
blue?
Muppets.
Is it silver?
No. See, this is the respectable vehicle.
It is yeah.
This is the undercover, like
Yeah.
the front vehicle.
Like 2 slots down.
This is the youth minister's truck.
2 slots down is if this character doesn't die, I'm using experience to buy a Haven with 2 things. It's going to be a van that has, like, the Muppets painted on the side of it, but it's like Gonzo's holding an EMF detector.
Yes.
Kermit's
yes.
got a black light flashlight.
You need
Yeah.
to draw this now.
It's gonna happen. If
And-
you don't die.
Animals sitting there
Which-
using dowsing rods.
Honestly, Gary's probably gonna die. So.
Alright.
There's a good chance Gary's going to die.
All right. So,
So we drive.
y'all get in the car. Y'all head out of town, and it is pretty busy. Like it's toward the evening hours, and people are heading out to get dinner before the fair, to get dinner after the fair. There's a lot of parents walking around with really hyper kids from all the cotton candy.
This isn't even a big town. Some of the guts down.
I mean that. That I actually did just put in like an order for Waffle House, and then I already know all of y'all's specials, and also Waffle House # please sponsor us. Waffle House.
Y'all pick up Waffle House on the way out of town. Y'all head over across the river into West Monroe and head up to catch on to 7 and head up White's Ferry. The road, once you come down out of West Monroe and head out into the whole Darbon Bayou country, it's very flat, and I know this because I used to drive that way every day of my life. There's a lot of backwater and cypress pine swamp. The ranger station is on the north upland side of the refuge. It climbs up a little bit. It's not so boggy anymore. But it's pretty easy to find. GPS will take you right there. There's a big old lovely rustic wooden sign outside. You arrive in the parking lot. There are 2 Louisiana Wildlife and Fisheries logo green trucks in the parking lot. The lights are on in the office. Even though the sign is turned to closed, you're pretty sure that you'll be able to get in without any issues. And around the side of the building, as you park in your truck, you do see a couple of UTVs, like the golf cart style, but they're like the really rugged, like backwoodsy carts. So
All-terrain golf cart.
they're called UTVs. You don't call them Gators unless they're the actual John Deere brand. They're not ATVs because ATVs don't have the little canopy on them.
This is an off-brand. I know these. My dad used to sell them. They're called Nutras.
You're on news, right?
Don't hate on the water pig of this state, okay?
Damn rats. All right. So
Mutated beaver.
yeah, y'all are at where you're supposed to be. What y'all wanna do?
Oh god,
What
Nutras
do
are
we
just
have to
beavers
do
without
again?
masks.
We have to go in and speak to a Carl Rollins.
They didn't tell you what we were going to bring over the lawn?
That there's basically a situation, and he just said to just meet him up at the wildlife station.
I've said this before, we need to get some info before we go places because Gary's almost died like 3 times because we didn't know what we were looking for. He ended up getting attacked by a raccoon. And then there was the beaver. I don't want to talk about the beaver.
It hit my nipple off.
That the raccoon was.
Oh.
That you know that the raccoon was partially my fault whenever I transformed into a fox and.
Well, I wasn't trying to lay blame, but it sort of was, yes. But I'm just saying we need to get info before
I
we
sort
go
of
to these
seem
places.
to be the punching bag. I keep going punch. I'm sorry. Like, I seem to get the shit end of the deal on some of this when you transform. I'm over here trying to make sure we have internet connection.
Well, the
in the
first time you
woods.
were trying to look at, so that was your own fault.
Speaking of which, as you check your phone, you notice that your signal's really not that great. You maybe only got one 5G LTE bar out here. Even though you're right off the highway, it's just not a good signal
Well, it's
spot.
like being back home. Great.
This tracks.
This tracks.
If y'all
They probably
would,
only have they probably only have Sudden Link out here.
if y'all would, everybody just give me a sharp roll real quick.
Oh, that's experience.
Okay, but that's good. 9.
I rolled it.
7.
I rolled a 5.
All right, so Susan,
Mm-hmm.
as y'all are kind of getting out of the truck and you're kind of checking your pockets and making sure you've got a couple of notepads and things to tote into the building with you, there's a little bit of movement out of the corner of your eye. You look off toward the like across the dirt road that leads farther back into the woods. It becomes like a ATV trail, and in the woods, only about 20 feet away from the other side of the road, so about 50, 60 feet away from where you're at in the parking lot, you see a deer. It doesn't have a very large rack. It's got a couple of tines on it.
Poor deer. You're judging its rack.
I'm a redneck.
So you're
That
here
is a
going, I
clip.
like big racks.
That's a clip.
I'm a bisexual redneck, yes. I like big racks. God damn y'all. Alright, but yeah, it's maybe a 4 or 5 pointer. And there's just something about it that doesn't seem quite right. This is like the second weekend after like archery season's opened up. And living here for a while, the deer have a calendar somehow, and they don't show up, especially not really close to like game stations where there's a lot of traffic running by. They hide once people are out in the woods a lot more. And this one's kind of just staring. And it is, it's closing in on 7 o'clock in October. It's a little dark. Its eyes are shining, and you can't quite figure out what it's reflecting off of.
The deer just has natural shine in its eyes. Look at it. We gotta catch it. That's a show deer.
It's a shiny one.
We can take that. Oh, get my Pokeballs. It's a shiny one.
It's a shiny deerling.
It's a shiny deer, but let's
I'm
just
gonna put
keep
some
an
stank
eye
on this. I gotta get the curveball going.
The door into the office opens up, and a he's an older man. Lot of gray, salt and peppered through his hair. Just a normal looking guy wearing the dark green button up uniform.
Nick Offerman opened the door to us.
What?
Nick Offerman opened the door to us.
Parks and Rec.
Ron Swanson from Parks and Rec.
Less pudgy than Ron Swanson. This guy looks like he's still fit for his years.
Okay.
Okay. But he is kind of a brick of a guy.
Okay.
And opens the door up and says, "Thanks for coming. Y'all can come on in for the mosquitoes come out and get you."
Alright, that's fine. Thank you.
Brings y'all in, and what are you doing?
Deet.
Oh. Susan, as you looked to respond to this game and fish officer, and you look back at where that deer was, and you don't see it anymore. It's just disappeared entirely.
Has the deer been acting strange?
Come on inside. Come on. I'm Deputy Carl Rossum. I'm the officer in charge of the station here. And he brings y'all inside, the door closes, and he kind of leans up against the counter and he says, "Yeah, we've been having some incidents here that my officers, those of us that are stationed here on the regular, we don't have any explanation for it. And with us being out here, we can really only rely on assistance from like the state troopers and whatnot to come in and assist with that kind of stuff, and they're all busy with everything else. I mean, you've got football season, you've got start of school, you've got all the festivals and everything. All since the start of deer season 2 weeks ago, I've had 5 people go missing, and we recovered all 5 bodies, and the coroner can't make heads or tails of it.
What is happening to the bodies?
Bite marks and bruises that we can't explain. But I tell you, I've been at this station for 20 years, and we have never had casualties like this, especially in such a short span.
There are bears here, yes?
Black bears? It ain't that.
Like, do you have any pictures?
I've got actually the coroner's reports pulled up on my computer, if y'all want to see them.
You coroner's reports? Any other witnesses that have heard anything or anything?
All these hunters went out on their own. We do ask, especially toward the start of the season, we do like to know where people are hunting. It helps us be able to make sure they're not baiting, because you can't hunt over bait in the refuge. We make sure that nobody leaves their stands behind or anything like that, because you can only have portable stands in and out. And so we have all the log sheets of where they were hunting, and that's near where we recovered all the bodies.
So no other extra hunters came out?
I mean, we've had other hunters. They've all gone back home. The ones that went missing, they got killed, they were hunting alone.
That they don't believe in the
What are you
system.
laughing at?
You said they were baiting. They were baiting in the woods.
Why is that funny?
He's making
Anyway,
a sex joke.
They're
I
baiting.
get it, but
Idiocracy. I can't
am
come to the door,
ignoring
I'm
it.
baiting.
I am ignoring it.
I'm sorry.
All right.
Thank
So
you.
before we get into any more questions, I'm gonna go ahead and do the gotta give y'all the coroner stuff. So
Okay.
what I've done is I've actually drawn out some of the. You'll have to imagine this stuff as like CSI
Right.
type pictures that have been taken that are in the coroner's reports. So this is a bruise that's present in multiple places on all the victims. These are also bruises. These are teeth marks. There are flat marks and then sharps immediately behind each one. There's also a single tooth that was recovered in one of the bodies that has like a pocket indentation on the back of it.
It's going to get infected.
So,
Child,
Y'all
turn
keep
down the
going,
iPad.
I'm gonna show it to the camera too.
Well, I mean that's rather gruesome.
While looking at this, I will spend one of my
Okay.
things looking at this, just judging, because it's like where these marks are on bodies.
Yeah.
What does the monster want from these people? Just looking at the, like, trying to, sitting there, going through the crazy person yarn map that is on a wall in my brain, connecting where different wounds are on people to where there's like some type of correlation crossover.
All right. So all these marks are kind of everywhere on the bodies. It doesn't really seem to be like concise or even the same from one victim to another. And I will say what you can kind of start to extrapolate is this is kind of damage for damage's sake. This is not exactly a message in terms of...
This isn't a predator that attacked to eat. This is something that's leaving a message.
Leaving a message, and that message is, get the fuck out.
Okay.
I will... Don't turn any pages.
No.
Don't look at the other side.
You
Well,
don't.
there's measurement.
Yeah.
So
Five and a half.
that's what I was
11
Yeah.
inches, like 4.5. This is 5.5 across. This is like 13 inches long, 6 inches.
That's a big mouth. Gary will turn around from the computer. So, were they all found near each other or just all over?
No, we found it's been like none of them went hunting on the same day. It's been 5 different instances over the last few weeks. One was the opening day of deer season. Another was a couple days later, a few days after that. The next day, a few days after that.
I mean, like, geographically, where were they found?
All over the refuge.
Okay, so not just in one.
All within about 6-7 miles as crow flies from the station here, but all over the refuge. They each had their own, and then a couple of them were hunters that I'd known for years that I've seen out here multiple times.
So like it's not like there's something's territory that they got too close to.
Honestly, not that we can tell. That tooth that was recovered, if I didn't know better, I'd have called it a deer tooth. But that pocket on the back don't make no sense.
Just looking at the pocket,
Just go all the way through.
does looking at, I mean, it is okay. So you don't got to show us the image again, but the pocket
Right.
just, and it is a 2-dimensional photo.
Yes.
Looking at it, does the pocket look like it's connected to a channel, or does it just look like a scoop out in the back of the tooth? Or should I roll investigate a mystery, or
It's more, it's like a groove. Like a tread in a tire, or
Oh.
like one of those slider pens. A groove.
Okay.
like something would slide?
Oh.
Huh. Well, that would explain the weird bite mark. I keep wanting to go country with them. I'm sorry.
I mean, that's fine. I mean, that I never seen a tooth like that before up in what I've done. I mean, that there was that one deer, but then that whenever I turned around, it was gone.
I've seen some weird things, but that is pretty weird.
Oh no.
What?
I know it.
Is
Like
it a
that.
Pikachu again?
Oh, that's a little thunder mouse. No, what I'm saying, the problem is like the voice I'm wanting to do for him physically hurts me because I know people who actually talk like that and I want to slap them.
Well, then slap yourself. Keep it up.
I think we got retractile teeth.
Possibly.
They go.
I think it's more like a nail gun. The one my dad would never let me use.
Yeah, I can see
Like, here's the thing. I've followed y'all's blogs and stuff for a few years now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And so I knew when the first body we recovered, I was like, if this thing was missing all its blood, I'd say it's a chupacabra. But the bruises don't make any sense. I mean, at first we thought that, and he points at like these spiny looking bruises. He's like, we thought these were maybe they fell on some of their equipment, but we double checked. The coroner
where are
double
those
checked.
bruises on the body? The lines.
And he's gonna click through all the different images. It's like a shoulder, back, hip, thigh, full chest. Like they're kind of everywhere.
And
Anywhere there's a surface large enough for them to
and
be.
that the heart, and then that the heart-shaped bruise. Where was that at?
There's about 6 of them, 7 of them,
All on the
more,
butt.
all over the bodies.
So then that's trampled.
Awesome.
Hmm.
It's not a whole lot of pepper into it.
Well,
Wait up.
I mean, like whatever did this, did it to send a message.
If that's the case, then
Y'all
they're
piss
about
off
to,
Bigfoot?
Look, we ain't messing with no Bigfoot around here. They keep to the northeast quadrant. We don't mess with them.
Bigfoot would just squish
I
it.
told you Bigfoot was real.
I didn't say it wasn't. I said your version of Bigfoot is probably not what you think.
What is so unbelievable that Bigfoot is its own separate humanoid species that has existed for years and stays away from the rest of us because we're asses?
I mean,
Oh, I believe that part because I did that most of my life before I came here. But
Ain't nothing wrong with believing in that at all. My point is, I had to get y'all out here tonight. I got a hunter who went out this morning. He was slated to be back at 1 p.m. and with all the officers in town and dealing with everything else everywhere, they already told me it'd be tomorrow morning before they could start a search, and so we'd be better off hunting for him ourselves.
what is his name?
His name is
so this is
Lost
search
my
and
page.
rescue or search and recover.
I'd hope it'd be search and rescue, but at this point I can't be sure. His name's Ronald Blake. He's 57. I know where his tree stand's supposed to be. I've got a couple of UTVs for us to use. I'm willing to distribute walkie-talkies. Your cell phones probably won't work too well out here, and I've got copies of the maps so that we can split up. And I've got my one of the other younger rangers out here. Her name's Sammy. She's gonna go out with us in the other UTV. So.
All right, I guess we should get going then. The longer we wait, the darker it's going to get.
So we get one, and y'all get one.
I've got walkie-talkies for everybody.
So
I'll have one. Samuel have one. Each of y'all will have one. Keep them all on the same channel. We'll be able to communicate even if we get separated by distance.
Well, the scarier things come out, the later it gets, so we should probably
Yeah. That is true.
All right. Is there anything that this is Keeper asking? Is there anything y'all want to do? Is there anything y'all want to get? Make sure you've got before y'all hit the trail.
I normally have all of our gear up and at the lock, and then just like let me just get this let me just get out y'all's gear.
Got my knife and my gun. I'm good.
Yep, and then she just like unlocks it, and then everybody has their own section trunk. And then at hers, it's just like, and then she just pulls out just this ornate katana. No, Gary, you cannot use it this time.
I don't think we're dealing with ghosts, so we probably don't need the
I don't-
stuff.
Like, I don't want to use that one. I have mine that fits in an umbrella, but we're in the woods, and that's not going to be super useful. So you can keep yours, and Gary's just going to stick the gaudiest mall ninja, yet somehow it's a cookery. But it's the mall ninja cookery that has the really shitty brass knuckles that, like, the holes are not drilled 100% right for you to put it in the... Like, everything about it is terrible, but he has sharpened it to be a useful weapon.
Hey, Gary. Hey. Mine's still bigger.
I mean,
She just has, like, Crocodile Dundee.
and
like,
then
knife.
that just that basically they're wild that the normies are still getting ready. That Susie is just gonna just like do just one of her hands up into her claws, like I have these.
Pulls out the polarized, like, changing color metal, like it's blue, purple, depending on how you look at it. Throwing knives that again totally come
Not
from
the iridescent ones again. We told you that alerts enemies.
Aggy's just looking out at the woods.
Yeah.
Oh, this kind of reminds me of home. I think I'm going to like this time.
Okay.
So how are we going to split up each other?
I think we're not going to split up till we get to the camp.
I
Right.
think that
Or the
honestly,
stand,
like,
whatever
I
it is
think
that they
all
go
of
for.
us should stick together, because if this hunts things that are by themselves, we let the trained woods law professionals handle their end, and we handle the spooky end.
Because that's what still in, horror movies.
But
The
it's
professionals.
yes, but it is also
That's why I don't want to go with the professionals.
I am but like one of us does have to go with it because that I did want to transform into my fox form and just basically sniff around, but
Well,
They-
they
they
know
can-
about this.
They go off on... Okay, they don't believe that. They think you're a furry. I'm sure that they think you're a furry.
Everyone thinks she's a furry.
I
I
mean,
am in human form, thank you very
no,
much.
I'm just saying, like,
Yes,
anytime
but there's
anytime
some-
we've written
there's
about
some
it in the
blurry
blog,
pictures,
they
you
just
know.
think you're in a Don Blue furry suit.
I mean, to be fair,
I told you we should go to the
that
kids
you know-
convention
Can
with
we
you
go
like
to the
that.
spooky
we
woods
did
nowadays?
go to that convention and I
I
won
kind of miss the
first
spooky
place.
woods. Can I go to the
Alright,
spooky woods?
before-
I'm going to start walking into the spooky woods if you
Before
don't shut
before
up.
we leave, I want to talk to the what is his name? Deputy.
Carl Rossum.
Carl
his
Rawson.
his like
Rossum.
understaffer, his like junior ranger gal. Her name is Sammy.
I'm gonna walk over to him. Like, I know we gotta split up and everything,
Right.
but I really think that our team should stay together while we're looking, instead of dividing us up with y'all and dividing up.
We're going
That-
country, Gary.
That's fine. But we can't have non-staff driving the UTVs, so it's just a matter of how y'all want to get in the UTVs to drive out.
Yes, so
Oh,
yeah. So then that
You two go with him, I'll go with Sammy. We're just going country.
that'd be fair.
That'd be fine. Sammy is a tall, lean, blonde chick. But she's still like she's kitted out. Like she's got a full like harness with
Lord.
like bear spray and like
Shit, she's hunting velociraptors.
she's
You're
ready.
ready for
She's
anything.
Ellie,
She's ready
she's
to
Ellie
go.
Sattler. Like we're going big Ellie Sattler rides. Yeah.
You're ready for everything.
Okay, is this Ellie Sattler
be
mixed with
prepared.
the mom from Terminator right now? Is that what we're getting?
Not too extreme to that, but like she's prepped. Like she's prepared.
Yeah.
So in the UTVs and pulling onto the trail, and y'all are taking the trail directly away that you saw the deer across the trail from earlier. Headed down, it does kind of go down a slope towards some bottom land behind the behind the ranger station. But after just a couple hundred yards, they take a left deeper into the woods. The headlights are on. It is pretty much sundown at this point, and the UTVs are trucking through the woods. The scenery in this part of the refuge is really tall pines and not a lot of undergrowth. It's open space, really good deer hunting country, because there's not a lot of issues with establishing sight lines. This is really good high growth pine. What was that about?
I had to basically research if that kitsune had dark vision, and they do.
So the UTVs do have like a full headlight component on the front. They do also have a bar light up top. So while y'all are headed through the woods, did y'all want to ask anything else before y'all get to the site?
Just I wanted to just basically know that the hunter that had went out that this morning, his name.
Ronald Blake.
Oh yeah, that's right. We already got that. Then we're good.
I would ask Sammy, so what do you think this is?
I honestly don't know. Like, I mean, I've been out of the academy for a couple of years, and I'm still learning stuff. Carl, he's a great teacher, a great mentor. He says he still finds things out here that don't make no sense. It's just kind of, you never know.
The woods hide weird things.
I mean,
Crazy things.
we've had crazy people live like establish a shack so far off the beaten path that you don't ever know they're there, except that they start leaving trinkets. Like we've had somebody try and act like Blair Witch up in here before, with little dolls in the trees and things.
That's true.
It's ridiculous.
I've known people like that back home.
It's where are you from, if you don't mind my asking?
Oh, well, we sort of moved around a lot. It sort of by way of Russia. Well, I said Poland. We spent a lot of time in Poland.
I was gonna say that the accent kind of.
Yeah, that's it. Was it Russian? We spent some time in Russia, you know, kind of Slavic areas, but a lot of time was spent in Poland, and we actually sort of lived out in an area like this. We moved a lot. Like we had a mobile home.
Yeah, I live in a trailer too. No big. It was whatever works, you know.
A lot of people think it was a scary house, but I loved it. I've seen lots of scary ones here in the U.S. since I've been here.
Oh yeah. You definitely head down the wrong side of the tracks by Balkanville. It's really scary.
Oh yeah, I've seen some
That's what
scary
the end of
things.
the universe is.
Oh man.
I've
Yeah,
seen
that
some
is
scary
where
things out in the
Balkanville
woods.
Cthulhu
Honestly,
is.
nothing I've seen here is compared to back at home. But
You talking about our good neighbor, Cthulhu?
All right.
It not through Raleigh, y'all.
Oh Lord.
While we're going,
Mm-hmm.
Gary is going to be. I'm assuming that they are like 2-seaters for the most part, and then someone has to like kind
They're-
of sit.
They're four
Okay,
seaters.
so
They're,
I'm pretty
they're
sure
the really good
Gary's
ones.
Gary's sitting in the back, and he's still sitting there going through his mind palace of just the most twisted, dark, terrible conspiracy theories and
this is what I want to send.
yarn everywhere.
Yarn.
There's just like a yarn that goes over the IHOP connected to ghouls, connected to vampires, connected to death. But doing that and using his memory, because like I'm assuming when he said like they're all over park, he kind of like motioned over. Like I know every ranger has a
There's
map
there's
on
like
the
a map
wall,
on the wall. Yeah.
and he just kind of motioned.
Yeah.
And
Well, he did say that the Bigfoot is like in the northeast corner, and he motioned like south of that.
okay, yeah, but no, Gary's sitting there thinking, and I'm just like just doing all these hand motions, like, and this is when you realize like some of his fingernails are painted black, but not all of them.
Yeah.
And he's going. I'm going to use another one of my.
Yeah, because you had 3 of them, right?
Yep.
I'm leaning
Time.
forward.
Also, like with the time period. When will the next critical event occur based on the information we've got? Gotten. Like time frame, region, like just trying to putting a mental thumbtack into something.
Okay. With the, like, you looked over the coroner's reports, and most of them indicated that a couple of the bodies were actually found like late the night of. Most of them were the other 3 were found the next day. But all of the time of death, like estimates and stuff based on coagulation and rigor mortis, indicated that the time of death was somewhere between 8 p.m. and 11 p.m. Like a pretty solid window of the evening.
It's starting to get
missing.
dark right now. I'm gonna lean up to Susie.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
We got about maybe an hour and a half until this goes down. If and it hasn't already happened, but my mind palace.
I know.
My mind palace says like this is gonna happen somewhere between 8 and 11. And I'm gonna assume closer to the early end is when it would happen, because that's when the hunter's getting down out the sand.
That is right.
And about this point, Carl pulls the UTV off the trail proper and puts it in park, leaves the lights on, puts it in park, and says, alright, so his stand should be, and kind of reaches up and has like a lever that can tilt the lights on top, and kind of tilts it and shines it kind of off the trail, and y'all do see a pine that has no lower limbs. Most of them don't, but about 20 feet off the ground is a climbing stand, clearly visible in the tree. There is no one in the stand.
Okay, so obviously he's not still waiting for
Alright.
shit clear.
Deputy Rossum is getting out of the UTV. He pulls a gun off the side rack, a long rifle, and gets it cleared and make sure that everything's cool. Says, all right. So he's not in the stand. So we'll probably have to track him. Chances are he either shot something and he's tracking it, or he's already missing. So.
Alright, that before we go off and track, let me see if I can get the scent of anything off. And then that you just watch as that, since that these normies know what we are in a sense, because it's kind of weird doing this in front of normies, that you just see her form just shift up into that. Y'all have seen this black and bluish kind of like fox that is about the size of like a rockwaller almost.
Sammy's reaching for a bottle of mace.
No,
But
it's
she's
cool, it's
not pulling it off. She's just kind of holding it at the ready.
She's
like,
cool, she's cool, I promise.
Don't worry, it's just ergot.
This is the cool thing she does.
Just basically just kind of like look at you, just and then just go up to like that the deer stand and try to sniff around. Can I get an investigative mystery?
You can.
Yeah, and then I also get to add that +1. Good thing I did. So then that is going to be a 9. So I get.
All right, hold one.
Oh, I am going to ask, like, using smell, what is being concealed here?
Well, you can smell a lot of the on the little bit of a breeze. You get a bit of a sniff of something that in your mind registers as like prey scent. You're basically smelling some of the deer scent lures, or like
Deer.
cover spray.
All the deer
That-
urine.
Right. All the deer urine and musk and everything that hunters use to keep themselves invisible from the deer. Some of it is kind of a little ways away from the tree that the stand is in, so that it catches the prevailing wind and kind of masks ongoing. But around the base of the tree itself, you're not able to smell a lot of the hunter's scent himself. His scent is concealed.
Okay.
Can the rest of us also do an investigative mystery? Okay. 8.
Let's see. I'm
One.
actually going to open the site and investigate the mystery.
What's open the site do?
I can see invisible, especially see the invisible, especially spirits and magical influences. You may communicate with, maybe even it deals with the spirits you see, and they give you more opportunities to spot clues when you investigate a mystery.
Alright.
So I guess I open that and then I investigate the
Okay.
mystery.
Alrighty.
I'm going to ask where did it go, because he's mostly looking to see if something has been disturbed.
Alright. So, while Susan is getting a little bit distracted, nose in the air, kind of trying to hone in on where these scent lures are, you're starting like a widening spiral around the tree. You do find a bit of like scuffed up pine needles, little clots of clay that are thrown around, and what looks like a running track, like a bounding animal track, that's heading off away from the tree.
But like no human boot prints or...
Not as obvious. Like around the base of the tree, yes. But after you find this like obvious sign of like an animal being spooked off, you go back to the tree and you can find where like where the hunter got down and was starting to follow. It takes a little bit, but you do eventually find a little bit of blood trail along that trajectory.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I open the site. Does anything pop up for me before I investigate the mystery?
Not in this immediate vicinity.
So many tree ghosts.
Depending on how high you roll, I might have something for you, but
All the Arborgeist.
10.
okay. So hold 2.
Where's the
Oh.
Yeah, there should be.
I've got one.
Yeah,
On,
we got-
I've got one on my
I
computer
got
too.
I got
so.
one.
We have one. We all
I
got
printed 4, I think.
Investigate the mystery.
So we've had asked what is being
sealed
concealed
here, and where did
and
it go?
where did it go?
What sort of creature is it?
So with the all of the leaf litter and stuff that has been kicked up that Gary has found, and the rangers come over as well, and they're like, "Yep, that's looks like he pinged him a deer. Probably the looks like a haunch shot though. There's not a lot of blood there, and the arrow's probably still in the animals. Otherwise, it'd be right about there."
I guess what can hurt that was already done.
Yeah, hunting equipment. This is the basically what happened is at some point, and it doesn't look like it was terribly long ago, probably right before close of hunt day with sundown. Looks like Ronald probably got a shot off on a deer. It ran off. He waited the customary few minutes so he didn't spook it up again if it had already laid down. Got down and started trailing it. None of his equipment or anything is at the tree. So he's on foot and he's toting whatever he's got.
Okay. I guess we should follow the trail of fun.
Alright, then
I
she
think it
just
went this way
transforms
over
back.
here. Watch out! I found brambles.
You found brambles and
But this is why you don't wear the trench coat out in the woods.
I just want ambiance.
so much
Sorry to the folks at home. I didn't quite get the other setup so we could have a battle map visible.
could not really and truly get a scent down because that, hunters tend to use deer urine and stuff, so couldn't really
gross.
trace them.
Mm-hmm.
But
This is why I did not like hunting with my dad.
Alright, as y'all are following the trail, and the game wardens do kind of take the lead. They've got a couple of headlamps, and they're more adept at like the more mundane tracking things. So they're trucking along and kind of taking turns with keeping heads on a swivel and making sure y'all are not falling behind and anything like that. Are you staying in Foxville?
no, I had just transformed
Okay.
back up.
So, as y'all are moving along, though, with your third eye open, it's not so much something that you see, so much as you start to feel. The hair starts to stand up on the back of your neck. Your hackles, for lack of a better term, are starting to kind of, your instincts are telling you something's up somewhere. You're starting to feel like there is some kind of magic or spiritual presence that's starting to kind of activate. You're not really quite on top of it yet or near it, but you're kind of getting in like the radius of it finally. The farther along the blood trail y'all go.
Something's glitchy out
You feel it too?
here.
Alright. If y'all would like, you can do one more investigate a mystery and see if we can get some
Nice.
get some other info.
Oh, okay. That's fair. I got excellent.
12.
10.
Okay.
So, since you got one, you go first.
Yeah, I'm trying to see. I'm gonna be like, what happened here?
As y'all are following this trail, the blood spatter has been getting a little more visible and a little more prominent, and eventually you do find kind of another like tussled up space of ground that has a lot more, as the wardens will say, a lot more sign of like where the animal tried to like bed down and then got either spooked up again or was dragged off. Like there's a visible drag mark heading deeper into the woods. Not back the way to get back to the trail, further into the woods.
Just go deep into the woods.
I don't think the hunter would take the deer further into the woods, would he?
No?
Unless he got turned around.
Okay. You want to ask your two in?
What is being concealed here?
A little, just a few steps
Child.
a few steps away from
Child?
What are you yelling for? He's in the other room.
Oh, I thought he ran into his room.
It doesn't matter. He's not near the loud iPad.
Okay.
A few steps away from the more tossed space, you see a little touch of color that doesn't match all the brown and red of the leaf litter. And you pull out a torn piece of a hunter orange vest. It has a little bit of blood on it.
Well, he did come this way. Or I'm assuming it was him. Looks like he might have been the one bleeding. Let's see, where did it go?
Deeper into the woods, away from the tree stand.
Okay.
Oh boy.
Going to, after that's been pointed out, going to be asking just looking at tracks and all that, what type of creature is it?
You do not see human tracks along the drag mark. You do see hoof prints.
Deer-esque hoof prints?
Yes.
Okay.
But they're backwards.
walking backwards, dragging him. But why would the deer be dragging a hunter?
I don't think it's a deal we're dealing with.
What the fucked up there? At least.
Now, going again back into the Mind Palace,
Alright.
traveling down the interstate highways of red yarn until we get to like blue because we ran out. Even the brain ran out of red yarn at this point.
Alright.
Trying to go in through like what we've seen, the weird tooth that seems to be a hiding point for a new type of tooth.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a deer. Trying to pose as a deer. And I'm putting this more as a vague version of what sort of creature is it.
You barely remember a bit of internet theory based around some small blurry clips of people on roads at night with deer that just don't look right. You remember a video clip of a deer that it looked like its jaw was unhinged like a snake. You remember one that looked like it had extra joints in its legs. You remember one that was like standing almost on two back feet, but the joints were wrong. And you remember all of this kind of categorized under a cryptid called not deer.
Not deer.
Won't like that.
Okay, going to relay that to them. Right. So
Not deer.
I
So,
have
like-
been waiting for this for a year.
so
You-
like
you Americans are so bad at naming things. Not
hey,
deer.
look, they had to name it something so that not everybody went, it's a skinwalker, because every other thing is a skinwalker now.
Most people don't even know what an actual skinwalker is.
Deputy
No.
Rossum kind of gets in on the discussion here, and he says, "Look, we've got this thing. A lot of the game and fish commissions are watching out for it. It's called chronic wasting disease. It's an emaciating disease. It makes them look mangy. It makes them look bony. Their joints all stand out weird. They starve to death.
Does it make their teeth have weird pockets?
No, I mean
Yeah.
it could, but not so far. But I mean, most of those video clips about not deer, they're either like the one that had its jaw. It was a broken jaw. Like it happens.
That's
They
right.
get hit by a car
Okay.
and
That
then-
So-
might well be, but I don't think an emaciated deer could drag a full-grown man like this through the woods.
So Gary is going to lean over and put an arm around this big beefy guy, who I'm
Right.
assuming is larger than Gary, because I don't
Pro-
assume
probably.
Gary is.
He
I don't
is
assume
tall.
I don't assume Gary is big, and it's just
You're
going to be
slab
like
of meat, you
it
are
is
fish
just
stick.
the Woody and Buzz meme, and I'm going to see it all fits together, so I can roll with sharp instead of charm, which is a 0 on charm. Yeah. But understand, all these pictures, they're not photoshopped. It's not just this wasting disease, because that wasting disease, that's nothing. I mean, okay, it's real. It's a terrible thing happening to the animals, but it doesn't make legs go backwards. So I need you to concentrate real hard, deputy. Is it deputy?
So yeah, is this a manipulate someone?
It will be a manipulate someone, but it's
Okay.
like, can you put for just a moment your disbelief in the
He's
truth
doing it again.
Yeah.
to
Please, then
help
help
us
me start
understand
doing my
maybe what we're about to deal with?
All right,
He
roll
is definitely
manipulate.
doing my job again, but that's fair.
Is that experience?
I rolled snake eyes.
Do you want to spend a lot?
Hell no, I'm not doing that. I'm taking experience
The
because this.
deputy's just like,
He
Off.
kind of like he doesn't put your hand off. He just kind of looks over at you, and is like, "Son,
Yeah.
I know you're not high on this mission, right?"
no, that's how he is all the time.
That's how he is all the time.
Officer, I am a straight edge.
I mean that.
That's because he can't get anyone to sell him drugs because he's such a dork.
At this point, Sammy kind of startles, and she's got her headlamp off into the woods, and she kind of turns up the power on it a little bit. She's like,
What is
"I
it?
heard something over there."
Do I see anything with my sights yet in that direction? That would not be
Please
seen
have
in
predator vision. Please have predator vision. Please have predator
You
vision.
see it almost looks like a mist, but it's kind of localized in like a small space. And you see a pair of glowing eyes.
Hello.
and a mist kind of coming up from the ground.
Reading a bad situation.
Yep. Anybody who wants to may.
All right.
Something
I,
out there.
and I get to use my other ability that I took from the expert list when we gave us level up. I've read about this.
Oh
I get to
my
roll sharp,
Okay.
to roll act under pressure.
Okay. Wait, we're not
Well,
acting
it's
under
still
pressure. We're
shit. It's
That's-
damn it. It's still the same thing.
That's
Okay.
a 13.
Everything on my
Bad
sheet
situation.
rolls
Wow,
relies
alright.
on sharp.
So, bad situation is what we're looking at right now.
Mm-hmm.
8.
Got a 13.
10.
So I guess that we get all of these.
No, we get to not ask one.
Oh, okay.
Where is it there?
Wait, but 10, 13, we got 3, you got 1.
Oh, it's whole
yeah.
3, not 2. So yeah.
Going to ask, like, what is the biggest threat?
Okay.
That.
Yeah, because here's the thing, Susan. You're looking at this thing and you're realizing with your fox-like vision, the eyes are on the front of the head, not the side. You're looking at the same deer that you saw earlier with the 4 or 5 tines on its
predator.
antlers, and you don't smell anything. The wind is from that direction. You should be able to smell this animal, and you smell nothing.
I smell nothing. What is the best way to protect the victims?
Don't let it get a running start.
Do not let it get a running start. And finally, what is most vulnerable to me? Besides Gary.
Probably its limbs. Its
Which, by the
legs.
way, it has trees. It has trees growing out of it. It's the limbs.
That was so terrible. So terrible.
I'm making dad jokes.
No.
Okay.
Okay. We're still asking questions, or are we moving?
Yeah.
If y'all want to ask questions, because I know you also had a 3, so that'd be literally all.
Yeah, I'm not asking a question because y'all got it covered.
I mean, I'm assuming the best way in is towards it. Best way out is probably that way. Are there any dangers we haven't noticed yet?
That prickle on the back of your neck.
Mm-hmm.
You look behind you. You see another pair of glowing eyes.
Oh shit.
Oh,
There's another one back there. Okay.
they have no smell.
What?
Yeah,
Can I
that,
do magic to try and trap the person in our monster?
Sure you can.
I'm going to try and use magic to try and trap it so that it's grabbed at the joints where it looked like it was vulnerable. Okay, 9. So that means
Okay, imperfectly. Effect and glitch.
effect I want is the
Lock it. Give it lock joint.
yeah, it kind of almost looked like something kind of dark pops up around it and grabs it around its
Okay.
joints.
So shadow shackles.
yeah, just,
All right. Cool. Cool. All right. Which one? The one in front of you or the one behind you?
I'm assuming they should do both, huh?
Yeah.
The one right in front of us.
Okay. Cool.
So I'm going to do that, and you pick the glitch.
All right.
The third one comes charging out because it's a clever girl.
The magic draws immediate unwelcome attention
Okay.
as the creature lifts back its head, and it does like a flip top head thing, revealing 2 rows of teeth that are clearly visible, shining with an unearthly glow in the darkness. There are sharp points, fang-like points behind each of its normal deer teeth, and it utters a garbled shriek into the darkness.
You look like something my Baba will use as a lantern. I don't like that.
yeah, that you look like a yokai.
Just that
I have
happens.
dealt with.
Answering the shriek from one of the trees almost directly above you guys, you hear a
Oh no, whistle at night.
Oh,
Fuck. Oh shit, don't ever whistle at night.
I heard you were about to say something
You
before I
can go.
interrupted so rudely.
Should we also take a break in a second here because we're going to put the boy a bit.
Yeah.
Then we will get into the super spookies.
Actually,
Yeah.
it might be better to stop here with
Yeah,
the
so
spooks
this-
hitting so we can put the baby to bed.
Alright.
Yes, we will be right back
We'll be
after the
right
child is
back.
in bed.
We'll be right back after that. These bedtime messages.
I'm excited. This is going off great. We're all problematic here.
Not
Yeah.
in that sense, though.
Not in that sense.
We are not berserk problematic.
Yeah.
We're also
Welcome
not.
back.
We're
We are
not a
back.
couple certain people that are in the news all the time problematic.
Womp womp. And with that, so y'all are in the woods. There's some knot deer, and there's a overhead. You've got one of the knot deer leg locked for a little minute.
I'll look up when I hear the whistle.
You don't see anything right now.
There's a knot owl.
With my sight still open?
You can't see it.
Oh my god.
I've bad.
Um,
All
I
right.
can't see it
You
with
go
my
ahead.
sight, so that's probably a bad thing.
So, noticing this,
Mm-hmm.
she's got one trapped.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what to do next, but I got it sitting there.
Just all the lines are connecting.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it's when it zooms out, you are fucked. It's spelled in yarn.
Four F's, 5 U's, a lot of K's.
There's an A in there just so you get a
It's just,
fuck.
it's just a apostrophe D at the end. There's not even an E.
Gonna look like we're not in an advantageous situation. I'm gonna say
No, you think?
we need to back up. We need to.
Back up where?
Today,
Look behind us. They're going to be fucking everywhere.
looking around, does it look like there's more than just the other set of eyes? Like, is there multiple ones kind of popping up, or is it just the ones we currently have?
Roll sharp.
What are you doing?
7.
What are you? I don't
Uh,
know. No treats. No.
You don't see any in the immediate vicinity besides the 2 that are flanking.
All right. Okay. So for what he will be doing, what is our current standing and positions? Like, I'm assuming we were all around the bloody bloop puddle.
I was next to where Sammy is because that's how
I was basically kind of in the middle.
So I think what it is we are clustered, and Big Sheriff is probably
Couple of not deer.
not deer, pretty blue. Where is the trail we came on?
We'll say
Okay. So they're flanking the trail.
flanking y'all. Those are my rangers.
Which one did you freeze?
We'll say this one on
The
my
one
end.
in the front, closer to Neysa.
The one on the right is the one that's frozen.
Yeah, locked into place.
Who's telling us to drink?
Serenette palsy.
Is that AJ?
Mm-hmm.
Hi AJ. Drank.
I did. I have no ranged weapons other than throwing knives. So he's gonna look over at one of the rangers. So, like, I gotta ask this seriously. What is the penalty if, say, a tree gets destroyed in the process of what we're about to do?
You really care about collateral damage now, Gary?
I'm not going back to prison.
You're like the same age as me.
And then this time that I am not bailing you out. That was
Yeah, I
supposed
only
to be.
have one shekel here. There are 2. There's at least one other thing. There's another thing that whistled.
All right, so
Look, if we survive, I'll fudge the paperwork.
They're very good at that.
dope.
Alright then.
Going to
Just
look
don't
at
burn
my.
down my whole forest, man. We ain't due for a control burn for another
Promise.
3 months.
All right. Gary is going to produce the terribly gross, the mall cookery. He is going to pull it, and Smokey will be pissed. Gonna just draw a little bit of blood from a finger, while doing magic.
Okay.
And I'm going to attempt to banish the other one.
Alright.
All right.
Okay.
That is 6, 3, 8, 10.
Okay. Magic works without issue.
Yeah. The other one, just going to do this, wave it, and then he is going to say in leak, or no, he'll just say it. I'm not, because I can't remember all the leak speak for this. Like, be gone, noob. You are not desired here. Go bother someone in New Mexico. And he is.
The eyes fade slowly as this mist that you couldn't see until just now kind of dissipates back into the soil.
Well, noob believe.
Alright. So, I guess then that, so that you say that you're going to fudge paperwork, right? And then you just basically just see Susan just transform up in a full kitsune humanoid. That y'all have seen that basically that her basically 6 tails come out, her kimono and stuff, and still the sword at the hilt and like just the teeth for sure. I'm pretty sure Sammy wants to just
Sammy's just kind of like
the deputy. I have discovered things about myself I did not know tonight.
And then the Sammy is just gonna also try to use magic to basically, Sumi is gonna basically just try to just use magic to try to basically continue to hold that, monster with just like little bitty, kind of like bluish flame shackles. Bless you. Almost bless you again. And then that little bitty flame shackles start to try to basically just to basically like form around it.
I see you taking a leaf out of Denny's book.
Okay, then that is a 10. That is a 10.
Works without an issue.
And just like, now that you're gonna just stay right there.
Okay, so y'all have this one pretty well locked up for another couple of seconds, a little while at least. But off in the distance, following the trail farther, you do hear a very faint shout. Sounds like a man shouting for help.
Okay, I was about to make the noise from Valheim that the deers make that Emily hates.
Don't trust that. I hear the shout, but I'm not going to move all the way over to the mist that we have trapped. I'm going to move just a little closer.
Gary, can you go with
No, I'm fine. And I'm going to use magic to communicate with something I do not share language with.
Okay.
To see if I can. And that's why to communicate, I don't have share language with it.
Like just throws the face back and does a stitch gurgle.
Okay.
Ohana means family.
Oh my god, fuck you.
Family means nobody gets left behind.
You.
That's it. I am creating it.
Actually, I don't think I need to. I have telepathy.
Oh.
Moo.
Okay.
Deer
Did you
noises.
just say moo?
Yes.
Moo.
It's not a deer, man. It doesn't know what deer noises make. You go to communicate, and the first thing you get back, I'd like to talk to you about your car's extended warranty.
Oh my god.
Okay, so allow me to investigate a mystery or read a bad situation without needing to actually talk. I can also manipulate someone without speaking. Almost as normal, except people will not expect the weirdness in mental communication. I'm going to try, because I've never used this before. I'm going to see if it works. I want to try and read a bad situation with telepathy.
Okay.
To go inside and figure things out.
So you can roll it for bad situation. But depending on your roll, I might also ask you for a use magic.
Yes.
Of course, y'all do that when I do that for fun.
Do what?
I rolled a 5, a 5, and a 6.
Wasting them.
It's just XP.
11.
Alright, cool. Ask your questions.
Get 3. What is the best way to protect the victims?
Look at you're reaching for this creature's mind. And what you sense is not so much a singular locus of thought and identity. You feel like you're looking at one point in a ecosystem or a web. And your question was best way to protect the victims.
I guess the victims would be us at this point. I don't know.
And
Unless the
The-
deer are the victim.
this entity, this thought process, this web of consciousness seems to be focused on spreading through the forest. And so protecting the victims is going to be either
Burn.
eliminate the entire web or stay out of the forest.
Okay.
They can't take over the forest if there's not a forest.
Synopsis on fire, Gabby.
Ecosystem.
I should have done investigate the mystery because I was the creature. What are there any dangers we haven't noticed?
Yes.
What's most vulnerable to me?
Alright.
Gary.
Shut up, Gary.
So I'm this to answer both of these questions. In this not deer's mentality, you can feel its connection to other not deer, like a web of roots connected under the soil. Each not deer is like has its own like space.
That's
and
one
it's-
little mushroom that popped up.
Right. And so the connecting points between these not deer are very vulnerable to magic, to warping that web, those connections. But as you're examining and kind of piecing this together, you see kind of in your mind, as you're kind of seeing this web of misty green light, you see two eyes that you just know they're far larger than the not deer that you're looking at. And you almost have an image of an enormous head with a spread of antlers very reminiscent of like an elk or a large like ancient European red deer kind of thing. The head turns and sees you,
Not dope.
and you see moss and blood dripping from its mouth.
Okay, I finally found something in America that compares to things at home.
I need you to act under pressure.
Okay. Am I good at that? Am I good at that?
We got terrible Princess Mononoke moment. We got terrible Princess Mononoke moment.
Okay. You. Yeah. Seven.
Okay. You feel this stare goes deep into your soul. And you remember an American phrase, deer in the headlights. As you kind of feel your mind shut down, take to harm, ignore armor,
Oh.
as you are essentially stunned for a few minutes while this thing is returning the favor of looking into your own mind.
Oh, fuck. It's gonna say some weird shit.
Y'all see, Aggy?
Aggie,
Forgot the name.
Aggie.
Aggie. Y'all see Aggie. She walked forward and she kind of like reached for the knot deer. And it's still locked there. It's not moving or anything. And y'all kind of get the vibe that she's doing some weird, spooky crap. And then she kind of like, you see her muscles kind of lock up as y'all are watching her from behind.
Oh,
Aggie,
shit.
are you okay?
You can't respond just yet.
She's not responding.
Psychic, not deer.
Did you two hear that help? Call for help?
Yeah, we're not moving off without y'all.
I'm not moving at all.
Going to see that if
I have -1 tough. That ain't
going to
happening.
go
Have little
see.
alarms, it will not work.
Going to see that if that I can use magic to basically dispel whatever effect is on her.
Please don't break my brain.
Sure. Give that a go.
Can't go look at the 2 officers.
Okay. But
Like,
that
while
is
this is hell,
a 12.
can you use those... Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
12? You can you get over there, and the closer you get to Aggie, you can feel that she's held in some kind of like an enchantment. Like, you're familiar with like mind control type of mechanics, and so you kind of you can kind of like blast her a little bit to kind of like disrupt that, and it does work. That vision kind of snaps closed on you, and you feel yourself kind of tingly and like cold and tingly all at once. It's a little weird.
Oh, doesn't
Are
like
you okay?
that. Yes?
Don't trust whatever is in that mind.
Well, no. I saw what it's fungus. It's you know how mushrooms are.
As
Yes.
you're saying that, y'all hear another call for help that's like halfway through the syllable is silenced,
Oh,
and
shit.
a loud shriek, like a...
Someone shoot this one,
I
please.
think he
No,
was still
it's not
alive until
emanating
a
from that
moment
one.
ago.
No, I'm
It's
saying
off in
is
the
we've got it
distance.
frozen.
We need to.
Want
It's
to
a
get...
mist.
I thought it was still in deer form.
It's a misty deer.
Looks dear.
Okay, I thought it was like misty deer.
So it's trapped there with fire shackles, but I don't trust that that's going to last.
And
Ever.
her shackle, so it's technically could be restrained.
It's a network. It's like a fungus.
It
Yeah,
is
but I
a
don't-
hive
Everywhere.
mind.
There's one central one. That's what I was looking at. And it's a big one, and it's the one that they're
We
connected
need
to.
to
We have
go-
We
take
need
out
to
the
go.
main
Yeah, we need to
head.
go that way, but we don't need this coming up our backside.
I'm
Well,
pretty sure the guy was alive until about a second ago, but
yeah, and Sammy, if Sammy
Deputy.
wants to kill it,
Deputy Rossum says, "Move,"
okay.
moving.
and he
Mhm.
takes a shot at it. It seems to make contact. Like, there's a kind of sound. And the thing kind of melts, like dissolves back into the
Okay.
soil.
Now we can go
Okay,
and
that's good
try
that
to
it's not
save
there,
somebody.
but it's kind of still in the ground, I think. There's like a web. They're just going to pop out of the ground like daisies.
Well, then we need to go and then try to save that
Like
civilian.
daisies? Or do you mean more like onions?
Whatever, Shrek, let's go. I don't know, did I get any sense of where the main hub was? Like the main head that I was seeing? That was looking at me?
The little tingle on the back of your neck,
Mm-hmm.
deeper into the forest, following the drag trail.
Okay, yep, we got to go that way.
Let's go.
Because it's either that or we let them have the whole forest. And
I
I
don't
don't
think
they're
I
gonna.
can flip the paperwork on that.
No, I don't think so.
No, we need to go.
Alright.
But I mean, isn't it like technically there? Like walking and talking, just
I'm
like
pretty sure they're invasive.
I mean, it is either just invasive or else from what you either described that they are basically, it could be that they're mating season or something.
I don't know, it was a freaky elk head covered in moss and blood,
Could it-
and it was.
like,
it
could
went
it
into
be
my brain
too
if I was
many-
in its
too
brain. I
many,
didn't
like-
like that.
like too many knuckle draggers went out into like the woods with their guns and started pissing off the deer god by killing
Oh
too many
shit, they
deers.
pissed off the prince of the forest. Bambi's pissed.
You can have +1 forward for getting my reference.
Oh my god.
Yay! Dark Bambi, here we
Yes!
No one causes a monstrosity like Gaston. I remember
Mine
that.
was better.
I remember. No, I just remember that theory.
Damn.
Gaston killed Bambi's mom.
go. You know what? I would. Yeah, I wouldn't.
I mean, I wouldn't put it past it. So,
Sammy says, "Look, if this is Carnunos, we're not gonna survive. So let's just do whatever we can and just survive. How about that?"
Carnunos?
The horned god.
The
what?
Carnunos is the horned god of Celtic mythology. I mean, y'all don't know that?
Do I sound
sorry,
Celtic
I'm
though,
more
yes, I
of Japanese.
I mostly focus on the SCP stuff.
Well, we just got a hodgepodge then, don't we?
Yes,
If we survive,
we will survive.
we'll talk.
Look at the other one. Did you know your deputy's a nerd too?
That
We're
How
all
many
nerds here. How do you think we pass the time waiting on the
how
first
many
one
people
back here?
know about our blog exactly?
don't know.
I shared it on Twitter.
Eyes just go wide, just like
Why do we even have a blog?
Have you met him?
Like it's advertising.
It
How do you think we
works.
get most of our business? It was a genius move.
All right. The deeper y'all are going into the woods, the more this mist is becoming a far more tangible thing. It almost feels like it almost feels dry, like dust, but it's cold. And
It is literally the stuff that's inside of a latex glove that we are walking into.
more like a spore cloud.
So
alright.
Sammy, about this Celtic god, what's the deal with him?
He's a chaos nature god.
Oh,
But
great.
like the chaos nature god of like the deep woods. Like I don't think it's what I'm saying is if it is him, we're already fucked. If it's not him, then at least fine, whatever.
Strangely knowing that,
God
I
of
feel
the-
a little
like
better
God-
because it feels
hold on.
familiar.
Like God of the Deep Woods, there is a Waffle House and a church 5 minutes away. This ain't Deep Woods.
That's what I'm saying is it doesn't make any sense. But like you're talking about like elk head and horns and like that's a whole thing.
Oh no,
Maybe
he's
it's-
mad we're gentrifying the forest.
I mean that.
Honestly, this makes me feel a little better because I've dealt with chaotic shit in the forest before, but not Celtic stuff.
Right.
Chaos shit.
Anything else that
Slavic
you know
chaos,
that
yes.
could be helpful?
Chaotic.
I was speaking to Sammy. Like anything you know else can be helpful.
When he's pissed and people die.
Well, that's been happening, so it's possible.
Like that. What is this whole stick?
Sacrifice.
Like, can I investigate a mystery more so to get?
Sure.
I would say help out, but that's definitely the minus one thing I got. going
I
on.
got a 9. Yeah, a 9. So I get max 1. No, that's not gonna help. That's not gonna help. I am gonna ask Sammy, like, what can it do exactly? Like, what stories have you heard about? What can it do?
He's a balance. Like he's, D&D and like druids, how they're like the balance between like,
Yeah.
nature and like making sure that nature has its place and how life and death have to exist in equal balance. Like Carnunos is like that's his like domain, but like he's a very you don't mess with him because he's like a primordial level of like you don't deal with him directly because he's nuts.
He is old god.
Very.
So
more of a
balance.
force.
Yes, but a force that exists because nature exists. Like he can take form because nature is his thing.
So, like, if we got rid of every tree, he wouldn't exist.
We are not setting the damn forest on fire, Gary.
Yeah, no, I can't get behind that because that would
We'll
just make you
probably
curse.
Piss it off.
Like if it is him, then you'd be
I
cursed.
mean that.
I've,
there- to be
literally, I've been called cursed on almost everything I
I
do.
mean that it seems like
like
that.
you're gonna die. Like watching The Ring, you're gonna die.
Oh, that you know that the ring girl that me and her had our tussle, that she will come back in 10 years after I've dealt with that.
Okay, you probably shouldn't be making deals with Crossroads demons. Like we
I-
watched Supernatural, and that's not a good idea.
It is not making deals. That we had a fight. I pulled
Oh no,
her
she
hair.
whooped our ass.
I don't know if I'm okay with that. It's a little crazy.
Well, if we don't figure out how the hell to stop this,
Right.
it's not going to matter.
I'm going to spend my last point. Is the person connected to this event more than they are saying? Looking at the two deputies.
They are human as human gets. Sammy's obviously freaked out. Like, she is out of her depth here and a little overexcited. Deputy Rossum is, he's a little more, like focused and just whatever happens will happen. He's kind of resigned kind of thing. But they are both as human gets.
Okay, so I'm not getting like either one of them are more connected to what we're about to go deal with than that one of them has knowledge.
No.
Okay, good.
Like Sammy is freaked, and Deputy is just like, if I die, I die, and here we go, kind of thing.
Is there anything that's like following us as we go further in that we can notice?
Roll sharp.
Like,
Okay. Yeah. Every so often you get that feeling of being watched. You're not seeing any eyes on the ground level, but looking kind of back and up every so often, you see what looks like the shadow of an owl on a high branch, or like a woodpecker clinging to a tree. But the minute you blink or look back again after you've walked a little bit, you can't quite see them anymore.
But nothing's attacking us.
No.
and how much closer do we got into this clearing or to this tree?
Y'all are following the drag marks, and you're starting to see a lot more blood. You're essentially following a cleared trail of mud made from the blood of a drugged body at this point. And eventually you, about 10 minutes after you started following the trail again, you do find what's left of the hunter. There's a little bit of orange, and he's been ripped apart. All of y'all can roll me sharp for how much you're able to piece together.
7.
Okay.
9.
Okay. You almost step on what looks like a sausage casing, like a boudin casing, till you realize it's a bit of intestine. You're a little bit overwhelmed. You find part of a hand, like this much of a hand, and it definitely looks like the entire ground around here was churned up by a lot of hooves and feet. Wrapped around some of the bits of clothing, the hunter orange and the camo, you find a lot of what look like poison ivy vines. Like, you recognize them by their kind of fuzzy coating, and they're kind of all wrapped around and threaded through some of the buttonholes on the jacket, through the bits of the sleeves.
Ooh, angry trees.
I'm not sure if it was grabbed or torn apart by the vines, but they are all up in there.
Sammy's kind of barfing behind a tree.
You don't touch any poison ivy for double reasons.
Don't touch the trees. Like I said, Evil Dead, man.
I
No
am
vines.
going to basically walk over to Sammy and be like, it's just basically okay that you have this under control, and then that I am going to use mental domination to basically, whenever I gaze into a normal human's eyes, then I get to exert my will over them. So I am basically about to try to basically,
You're about to Muppet her.
Yep. Let's go.
Okay, so then if that is an 8, so that on a 7 or 9 that you may spend your hold 1 to give them an order later. So not now, but I'm gonna pocket that right now.
Okay. She kind of regains herself, kind of wipes her mouth a little bit and says, You got really pretty eyes.
Thank you.
As you and Sammy are kind of trying to get back with the rest of the group, all of you hear and feel a thud in the ground. Like it's like something like a K-rail gets dropped off the truck onto the highway. Kind of thump. The T-Rex is coming thump.
Basically, hand is on the scabbard of katana at the ready, with just a claw sharpening out. Just watching.
Both the Rangers cock their rifles and make sure their headlights are on all the way.
Reaches underneath the trench coat and pulls out a pair of nunchucks.
I swear to God, if you hit yourself in the balls with those again, I'm going to kill you.
I'm sorry. I know it doesn't come on this one, but when I saw that the Flake gets a nunchuck and it has the same stats as a fucking flashlight, I'm like, what does Gary have? They're the Bleach official nunchucks, even though nobody in Bleach has nunchucks. But you know that shit exists.
Alright.
Everybody see.
Knife.
Alright. Everybody get one more read a bad situation roll, and we're gonna go.
I
right
could use
in.
my +1/4 that you gave me. Can I still use that? Or did I need to use that roll after?
I'll let you choose when you use it.
I got a 10.
We're doing read a bad situation.
Mhm.
I got a 10.
Nice.
8.
Okay.
Oh shit.
Experience.
Yeah, because even with you,
First-
even if I use my
first time
+1,
for
it
the
would be
night.
a 4.
That's yours.
Okay.
I did not use it because it would be useless. Fuck.
Okay.
Why do you fail me when it matters?
Are there any dangers we haven't noticed yet? I mean, I'm assuming the thump is noticeable,
Mm-hmm.
but like,
All of the ground around your feet is starting to shift and move like something underneath it is going to try something.
land shark, and gonna try like
What the
Ju-
fuck is a land shark?
points at the ground that's shifting.
Okay.
Okay.
Best way to protect the victims?
Kill the boss or get out of the forest.
Okay.
Excuse me?
You can, what is the most vulnerable to me?
Whatever minions it summons.
Okay.
Like you're still feeling these large footsteps. You're agile. You're a fox person, but foxes don't attack big game.
Right.
You can handle things that are probably your size or roundabout there.
You can get
Probably
that
not a
rat.
T-Rex.
Best way out.
Best way out: run as fast as you can back the way you came. Get back to the UTV and get back to the trail.
Alright. I guess that we need to solve this problem immediately. Because she just kind of like pops her neck a little bit and just like, because I have a sermon to deliver tomorrow morning. And probably Sammy going like, sermon? What?
Just about. As y'all are kind of squaring up and trying to figure out where to look, the footsteps are getting closer, and from the darkness in the trees, about 25 feet in the air, two large eyes glowing with a yellow-green mist are staring directly at the five of you. And there is all of this mist and this cold, dry, dusty feeling is kind of, you can almost see it like pulling out like a storm surge, like before a tsunami, drifting toward the creature. toward the Prince of the Dark Forest. And, yeah. What do y'all want to do?
That sounds good.
Gary's just gonna
No
look.
one's ranged on this team.
I have
Just,
magic and a gun.
just looking at the two of you. So, like, deal with it, or that's a whole brontosaurus.
It's not a dinosaur, Gary. It is deer.
It is not
It is
here.
big, not deer.
It is, yeah, that is a primordial dinosaur force. No.
I don't know. I don't know if it would want to talk to us. It kind of didn't like me poking around in its brain, and then I kind of poked around in mine.
It is big enough to eat one of us whole. Just
Scary.
wanting to know what we're doing.
But it's going to eat a lot of people whole if we just leave
It's
it.
stepping closer and closer, and both the ranger's headlamps are focused on its face. And as it moves to where you can see it in the light, its palmate antlers are dripping with moss, and what takes you a second to realize are rags, like the remnants of someone's clothes. Different colors, different, even like you can see some of them are more threadbare, some of them are seemingly newer.
Oh, this is like the worst velveteen off of the side of that deer's antler.
Its entire face, the fur on it is mottled and bone is showing through. And its mouth is hanging slightly open, sharp teeth, multiple rows of sharp teeth, and bits of red meat and strands of Spanish moss hanging from the jaws.
I was going to ask if it might actually want to speak, but I'm guessing not.
Looking over at what's the other deputy, the deputy park ranger's name again?
Rossum.
No.
Sammy.
Sammy. Is that who you think it is?
Hope not.
Alright. I am, Gary is going to be going off of Chaos God, nature. What is the opposite of this thing that can stall it? And he is going to summon a creature. He is going to use magic to summon a creature.
What type of creature?
Weird. I will see if I succeed first.
Okay.
I'm spending a luck. He moves the knife in an odd manner, and then a portal opens up in the ground. Smog and smoke come billowing out as a large humanoid Thomas the Tank Engine mech, billowing smoke with chainsaw hands, forms as he summons a devil of the Industrial Revolution.
You just summoned
Okay.
Victorian age Chainsaw Man.
I just summoned Thomas the Mother and Tank Engine.
Okay, you summon a Thomas the Tank Engine mech. Soot and the smells of oil and steam are immediately beginning to fill this space as the mech suit begins to rev and
What the fuck is that, Gary?
it moves to take a step toward the giant deer, and as its foot comes down, the ground erupts with vines and these humanoid shapes made of clay and pine needles and poison ivy strands just begin to wrap around and through all the machinery of this thing. It is essentially entangled for the moment.
Gary's gonna look. Alright, like, super spooky magic ones. I'm keeping it, like, he's backed up a bit from this, like, I'm stalling. Someone that knows what we need to do it.
I don't think you stalled it.
No, you don't understand. This is like Gary starts going into a
Flake mode.
he's freaking out because like the couple times we met like ghosts, not that bad. The demon was bad. This is we just met God and not like what not what Gary thought God was. So
Right.
Gary's getting twitchy.
Are you going next?
I'm going to do what I was going to try and do earlier. I'm going to use magic to see if I can communicate with it.
Okay.
I'm going to try. Okay, no. Holy shit. Wait. 3, 4, 6. Plus 1 is 7.
Okay.
So that's my plus 1.
So trying to communicate. Do you want to pick a glitch?
I think you have to pick one glitch.
You can choose the glitch, but I decide what effect the glitch has.
Oh, okay.
So you can limit how much I get to play.
Did he just pull down a pillow to make himself more comfortable?
He knows what he likes. Let him have what he likes. He rules the house, don't you know?
No, there is an 8-year-old that fairly well does that. I just pay bills here.
Has a short duration, I guess.
Okay. How do you wish to attempt to communicate? What do you wish to?
Using the magic to communicate with something that I don't share language with, otherwise I can. Can you understand me? Can you talk to me?
Okay. With your physical eyes, you see this the things. It shifts its focus from the train mech to you. Those glowing eyes make contact from 25 feet in the air with you, and in your mind, you hear. Its voice sounds like how a peat moss like swamp burbles. And you hear it say, "Claimed mine," before the connection breaks.
Shit. The claimed and mine. Pretty
And
sure it's the Forrest.
As you're saying that, you're kind of trying to break that eye contact, and you can't quite turn your head away. It raises a foreleg out of this swirling cloud of spores and mist and stomps, and you feel the ground shift under you, kind of sink a little bit, and vines start climbing up you.
Oh fuck. No.
Wrapping around your legs and continuing up your body.
It's like crazy shit.
And, let's see here. You feel that connection reform for just a moment as it says, power. Alright, what do you want to do?
This thing is fucked in the head.
Basically going to immediately cash in at that hold 1. I have been holding and said that, like, Sammy, if you have anything that is flammable on your person, hand it over now.
She reaches for a couple of like emergency flares and hands them to you.
Thank you. Basically going to break them, and with a little bit of magic, basically try to essentially, do like a firebolt a little bit.
Okay.
And basically try to just toss it at the thing's feet, if possible.
All right. So you're trying to make sure I'm understanding. You're trying to convert a mundane emergency flare into essentially like a flashbang grenade type of situation by using magic to kind of alter its nature.
Right, to try to basically get it to be like incendiary.
Incendiary.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Go ahead and roll magic for it.
Come on, Gus, do your stuff. I would take that mixed effect. That's a 7.
All right. What glitch do you want me to play with?
Honestly, I would say that
You know what? I actually I have the perfect glitch for it if you'll allow.
Go
me.
ahead.
All right, so it'll work. Like you feel your magic kind of warping it. You yeet them across this open space between the trees. It lands and it illuminates the like bony tree trunk legs of this thing. But as it does so, this thing immediately rears up and bellows, and you know that it is very angry now because fire bad for green things. And you get the sense, like, there's just this animal instinct. You know that this thing is rampaging. Like, it's in a rage state now.
Okay.
Okay? Alright. Both Sammy and Deputy Rossum are going to fire their guns at the thing.
Kick some ass.
Yeah. I was trying to think, like, every time you've run it, have you actually had our, like,
Well, okay, how close?
normies
Well, hold on.
assist?
How close are they to it?
Well, they both have rifles, so it's only maybe 20, 30, 40 feet away. something
Okay,
like that.
so here's the thing with using firearms in Monster of the Week. Depending on how close you are, it can be kick some ass, or it can be act under pressure because of distance. Kick some ass automatically causes the monster to have a response. Act under pressure does not necessarily cause it to happen. It's not on the sheets. It's in the book.
Well, it's more just a matter of, like, I'm not going to have them roll for it as act under pressure. Like, they're trained with their guns. Like,
Well, I mean, the thing is the argument for using firearms at a distance under act under pressure is
what I'm saying is, if it's only 40 feet away, it's not going to be act under pressure anyway, because that's still well within range of the firearm.
Well, the thing it's not just. I mean, as long as it's within range of the firearm, it can still be act under
Yeah,
pressure.
they're wielding hunting rifles.
The thing is the proximity to the enemy is really what would make the point here if it's what you're trying to determine what the roll. And the big thing is can it close this distance that quick? And if it's 20-something feet tall, I would argue yes.
Well, yeah, it can, but it's also in a rampage state, so there's not really any way of knowing.
Right. So I mean, if you want to do kick some ass, go with kick some ass.
Because I didn't think. I failed to think up stats for my NPCs. So that's an 8 on the die, and that's a 7 on the die. So.
I mean, if you're looking at stats for like minions and NPCs, usually they have a 0 or a 1.
Yeah, that's fine. They can take their mixed successes.
They've been out in the woods, so I said they don't have a -1 to weirds in the woods.
At least a 1.
Alright, this is fine. They're both going to fire off a couple of shots, and it'll both do a little damage. Let's just see this number here. What damage do rifles do? Is it 2?
2. Hunting. Actually, I got that. Hunting rifle 2, harm, far, loud.
Alright, cool.
I think if it has far is when you can argue that you're acting under pressure.
Yeah, because sniper rifles.
I know also if you are a crooked with the driving feet, you do act under pressure to attack with cars, which is why I always hit things with a car with Raymond.
Or else a gurney.
Alright, their guns don't seem to do much damage, and this thing comes down from its rear and immediately begins running, galloping across the space, getting away from the flare, but also moving toward the two of them. They kind of stepped aside so they weren't firing over anybody's shoulders, so they're kind of in a direct line. This thing lowers its head, sweeps them both with its antlers, tosses them away, and then spins to face your group again. Okay, so...
We're back at the top.
Okay, so the question is, my Thomas has been summoned. I don't control it. That's you. The only intent I would have given it is dear bad.
Dear bad. It tries to turn. It can't really turn. It's being grappled by these vines. So it starts trying to swat them away. It manages to get itself most of the way free, but then it can't. It's still trying to like turn to cover the distance.
Okay. Okay, most of my stuff is not actually designed for this, so I'm going to have to rely on the other stat I got a bonus in, and I will try to do magic again. Okay. Going to look at it and going through the maze of red yarn and the internal crazy man board.
Okay.
Remembering this sallowing disease, the swallowing, the wasting disease that the deputies, the forest rangers mentioned.
Yeah.
Looking at this thing, it is bony and kind of desiccated.
It looks like if an enormous deer skeleton had been left to rot in the forest for a while. Like the base style of it is that. A half rotted bone showing through the molded fur and bits of rotted skin.
Okay. So gonna use magic to try to figure something out. Also gonna be sidestepping so that we're not all clustered.
Okay.
He knows in D&D you don't get close together when someone can throw a fucking fireball.
Right.
Not that the deer's doing it, but going to go, so I'm going to use magic again and try to banish a curse.
Okay.
Targeting the big fucking spooky ass deer, thinking that it might be blighted in some way to see if I can remove a curse off of it.
Okay.
That is 6, 9, 11.
Really? Okay. Sure. You can feel as you impel the energy of a curse to flee the eldritch deer here. You see the lights in its eyes dim for just a moment and then come back to light. And you get the sense that it worked, but...
Not enough. Gonna share that. Gonna be like, yo, in the name of the Emperor of Mankind! So that's totally deal. Like in the name of the Emperor of Mankind and the Imperium. Be gone, Satan! And then...
You feel with your like spirit sense thing going on, as you're still feeling this weird connection, this dim sense of the thing that's now run like past you. You feel kind of the flicker of like a spirit released and dissipate, and you realize that thing's like a powerhouse. There's a lot more of it.
Yep.
There's a lot more of those in there.
Yeah, like it's cursed. We just need to big decurse it.
As she speaks, her voice has this weird undertone that sounds way too deep for Aggy's normal voice.
You got deer in you.
Can I feel that?
Feel your voice be weird?
Can I feel that there's something off? Other than
Oh, you're still feeling this weird thread of a connection.
Do I hear that in my voice? Is it?
I'll get back to you.
So I'm gonna yell like, big time bad curse. We got to get rid of it.
Okay.
In reaction, because I'm, for my own sanity, I'm deciding that the deer is only reacting on your the end of your turns, not your train thing's turns too. Because otherwise, that's me reacting to me, and that's weird. So, and I'm already doing that for my NPCs. So, as you are speaking to them, and then you look back at the bless you. You look back at the deer, and it turns, and steps to the tree closest to it and melts into the tree.
Oh, that sucks.
Your turn.
Okay.
So what I want you to do real quick is roll me just a sharp to start with. I'm not holding to the one roll per turn rule. We're resolving multiple things at a time here.
Okay, I'm using a luck.
All right.
What happens when I use a luck?
What happens when you use a luck?
I actually don't have anything written down on mine when I use a luck as the flake.
That's good. I'd be a little bit too mean because we know the flake's gonna use luck.
Whoa. Okay.
The flake and the mundane, I don't think, have negative effects for luck. At least not on this sheet.
So what happens when you use luck?
So, as the spooky,
Mm-hmm.
I have the dark side.
Okay.
Powers have an unsavory source, and sometimes you get tempted to do things you shouldn't. These could be orders from whatever grants your power, or urges that bubble up from your subconscious, something like that. Whenever it's unsettling. I picked 3 tags. The keeper can ask you to do nasty things in accordance with the tags when your powers need you to.
Okay.
If you do whatever is asked, I mark experience. If you don't do it, then your powers are unavailable until the end of the mystery, until you cave. As a mark off luck. I thought it was something else.
Right. What are your tags?
Okay, yeah. As I mark off luck boxes, these requests will get bigger and nastier. So this is
What
my first one.
What are your tags?
Mine are secrets, mood swings, and hallucination.
Okay.
We getting
And,
high up in the freaking deer devil's house in the
there
woods.
is-
All right.
I got it. Hang on. This is who my spookies come from.
Okay. So all right. So can I see it again real quick, just for the. Okay. All right. So you do hear this is all happening like really quick, like split seconds in your mind kind of thing. You do hear your voice and it responding to Gary, and it doesn't sound right. But it also doesn't sound like your person, your dark side background there. It does not sound like that. It sounds very much like the voice of the deer thing that you heard in your head. And you feel all these vines, they've now like reached to your arms. And you feel them turning you toward Gary. So here's the thing. Inside you, with that thread of a connection still there, you feel yourself wanting to eliminate the trespassers. So, here's the thing. This is one of the effects here. This turn, whatever you do, is going to be directed at Gary. Now you can choose whether you do this willingly or whether you can resist it a little bit with that mechanic. Okay? But one way or the other, these vines have control of your body and a little bit of control over your mind, and they are directing you to use your own abilities to target Gary.
Okay. I wasn't planning on attacking the big one. What I wanted to do was to use magic to try and burn away the vines if I could try to do that. But is that going to work, or is that just going to be directed at Gary if I try and do it to the vine?
If you're trying to do it to the vines, some of that is going to be split toward Gary. It depends on how well you do it, how much split happens.
not gonna whammy because that'd probably be worse because that adds 2 harm. I'm going to try and use. I guess it's something that's not humanly possible to try and use my magic to burn off
Yes.
the things. No!
Boxcar.
So
No, Snake Eyes. Box cars would be awesome.
Oh,
So that's
You're right.
that's a 5 even with my weird things. So
all right. So as you are trying to redirect the redirect, it doesn't really work at all. You kind of fizzle at your fingertips. Like your will is warring with the will of this eldritch abomination, and nothing really happens. The vines are still all on you, and they're now like attempting to completely encompass your body.
somebody get these things off of me!
Her voice still has that really deep undertone, and y'all can see that she's like she is doing the whole like physically trying not to turn herself, but she is being turned.
Going to quickly run over, if I can still see the flares still active, grab those, and basically using those to basically try to get the vines off of Aggie.
Sure. Roll me act under pressure though, because you did cause these flares to be a little more volatile than they would be. So you're trying to make sure you don't also get hurt here.
Burning a luck to make that a 12.
Okay. Do you have any effect on luck?
Yeah, whenever you spend a luck, your monster side gains more power. Your curse may be stronger, or another breed disadvantage may manifest.
Okay.
You can no longer eat pepper. I don't know.
All right. It's not going to have any effect
Right.
this early on. If it was a little later, we'd say you. But
Right.
with your drive and everything, that's not
Not
pertinent
now.
right now. You feel yourself maybe like you feel your tails are a little more poofy than they should be. It might make it a little more difficult for some of your acrobatics, but like no big deal.
Okay.
I'm gonna be nice about it. So you can grab the flares, get over there, and start using the flares to like singe some of the vines, and they do kind of wither and curl away and blacken. If you spend this entire turn,
Yeah, that's what I'm doing, spending the entire
then
time.
she's free. And with the vines finally off of you, you feel that thread kind of snap,
Good. Thank you.
and her
No
voice is back to
problem.
normal.
Fire.
That thing wants me to kill Gary.
Yeah.
I'm going to kill Gary. It's going to be my choice.
Gary just like looks out from behind the tree.
You're good, Gary.
Alright then.
Okay.
For now.
Somewhere off in the trees from where they got tossed, both Deputy Rossum and Sammy are getting to their feet, and they kind of seem a little bit beat up. And Rossum is trying to get his gun off the ground, but he seems like he's pretty banged up.
They got chomped.
They got chomped.
They vanillas.
So they're like, "Where'd it go?" And at about the point at which they say that,
Oh no.
from behind Gary, it steps out of another tree and stomps, and vines encompass both Gary and the train mech again.
Oh fuck.
Okay.
Your turn.
Gary is gonna see that he has stuff growing over him. This is definitely making him act squidgy, but again, most of my abilities don't apply in this case because at this point I can't be determined to be not threatening or unimportant.
Mm-hmm.
So, Gary realizes that little magic ain't doing it, so he's gonna have to attempt big magic. So, use this when you want more than the use magic effects. Tell the keeper what you want to do. Okay, and then you get to go through this list. Gary knows that he does not know enough magic, but he does know enough facts to become annoying in just about everything.
Okay.
So what he is going to do is he is going to enact a bigger version of remove a curse. And he wants what it's going to burst from him is basically he's going to call it a purifying flame. Other people probably would argue it's not. That is basically him going off of the knowledge he has collected and how to properly do something through the process of reading every page of the Vatican's demon exorcism code in the version of Latin that he knows, which it's Latin, but it's not proper Latin because, of course, his Latin is the true Latin. That's what he learned. He learned Latin in high school from someone who didn't really know Latin. It was just a teacher that got that class, but he learned Latin. He was one of 3 students in that class. So,
okay, so you want
a souped-up blessing that is basically him rattling off chain knowledge of exorcism to try to, in a case, burn what is immediately around him, and because the creature stepped out right next to him. To, more or less to try to pause it long enough that he might be able to get away from both the vines and it. Knock some more of its ghosty things out, and enough to stun it.
Okay, so what we'll do is rather than have it be big magic, we're going to make it use magic but at disadvantage. So roll 3d6, take the 2 lower.
Let's see. I'm going to spend luck.
Okay.
Make sure it goes off.
Okay. So you are able, this kind of, you almost like manifest your mind web of, this is how to do an exorcism, and it kind of like spreads through the clearing in like bars of really too bright for this light. Echoes of your voice reciting these portions of Latin, and there's probably some Pig Latin in there too, and it works. It works. You feel quite a few of these like spirit component bits of the thing are popped out of existence, but you know this thing is still behind you. It does seem to be a little bit stunned, but it's not.
What he's doing is, if it seems stunned and he's knocked enough of the vines off of him,
the vines kind of
he's
wilt.
booking it.
Right. So if you're running, both Sammy and Deputy Rossum are going to be shambling after you as quickly as they can.
No, just running away from it back toward, not like booking it, getting out of there, booking it so I'm not immediately in front of it, but I could still possibly be useful to the rest of the team.
Okay.
Like, it's a freaked out run.
Okay.
He attempted at first an Naruto run, and then it turned into a flail Scooby-Doo run.
Okay. Alright, yeah, you can put some distance between...
I know that I'm not putting enough distance between me and it to get away from it, just...
Okay.
I don't want to be directly in front of Monster Deer's maw.
You are not directly in front of Monster Deer's maw.
That's it.
Okay. Alright.
Gonna yell, just, bless it!
Oh, okay. So, basically that,
What are those? Are those crack nuts?
basically that, I am going to basically pull out just basically some of the prayer beads that she had probably had on just at her neck, and say just some kind of incantation and basically bless it.
Okay. Same thing. Use magic, but at disadvantage. Roll 3, take the 2 lower.
Okay. See, I need the big boys out. Did not roll that. That would have been nice. But just to make sure it goes off. Spinning another luck.
All right. A few more of the lights in its eyes dim, come back, but they're definitely far less intense than they were before.
All right.
I don't really know what the blessings do. Like,
Are you saying that like loud, out loud?
I guess probably to herself mostly.
Okay, if we can't hear it, because I was gonna tell it what your Baba told you when you went to bed.
You hear
She was the stories.
you hear her voice in your head and says,
I could help. Hi, Baba. Yeah, okay.
Aggie opens her mouth, and a different voice that is definitely not her own, begins, and I'm not even going to attempt because that would be culturally insensitive, begins speaking in a Eastern European dialect, and it has quite a bit of effect. The lights completely dim, the entire creature fades into this dusty mist and trickles to the soil. The vines around the Thomas the Tank Engine mech, the soil all come to a rest. It seems to be gone.
Man, Thomas the Tank Engine, I thought you'd be way cooler than this, but nah.
Thank you, Baba.
Jeez.
We should have stew sometime soon.
You told me to come here, but I would like to come visit him sometime soon, yes.
Alright. Anything before I cut y'all loose?
Well,
That.
so that happened.
Like, I'm standing in somebody's intestines right now, man. I am...
That.
Sammy goes,
Basically going to be just basically as that I am doing just at the walk up, just go back in the human form and going to go up to Rawsome and be like, just that 3 normal human hunters that helped you get rid of a rabbit deer, right?
Yep.
Alright. Because you can definitely trust us.
I'll share your blog on my personal Facebook.
Oh yes, and in that, be sure that I will also treat you to Waffle House later.
You got red on you.
What?
Yeah, that. Let's just go and go back, and in that, also that, and then that also that I also may recommend putting up like scriptures for them to basically read before that they hunt, so that way that this doesn't happen again.
Federal...
You might just want the helicopter to drop holy water on the whole damn thing. I don't know at this point.
We'll figure it out.
Or just, like, don't have them hunt right here for a while.
We'll claim bear attack.
Alright.
Alright. With that, we're gonna wrap because people gotta go pick up people from work and other things.
Mm-hmm.
So, hope y'all enjoyed.
Yes.
Yes.
Alright. Redneck horror for the win. So, yes, things. I am Neysa does cosplay on most things. Ninjaspence 21.
Mm-hmm.
You have things, right?
Yes. Twitter,
Right.
Instagram, all of that.
Yeah. We're Team Bonus Action everywhere except on Twitter where we're bonus_team. And don't forget about
I am free TBA on there, so
don't forget the St. Jude fundraiser thingy. Just click the banner thingy and it's right there and it'll do the things. And come back next week for Testrad. And since Nox isn't here and we gotta go, don't let your meat loaf.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.